What does Russ give you as a 13, 14-year veteran that Jackson just can't give you yet? Or is it?
Well,
there's
I
not
think
a
the
lot?
obvious, like it's the 13, 14 years of playing. You got a guy who's never played in a real NFL game versus a guy who's played in a lot of them. That experience is just great. So yeah, it's the experience.
I mean, and did you see that like on the practice field?
Yeah,
You
you see.
just
I think you see that naturally everywhere, not just in the meeting room, down the halls, down on the sidelines. I mean, like I said in the spring, I think after we took Jackson, when you're a rookie, not only are you trying to figure out everything football wise, but I mean he's also trying to figure out where to live. How do I get to work every day? What's the route I take? Where are the places I go to eat now? Like, so just take football out of it. His whole off the field life changed. Whereas Russ is a 13, 14-year veteran, that stuff kind of comes a little bit easier.
he didn't know any of that stuff either, though.
Well, I
Coming
mean,
here,
you,
right?
you do though.
Yeah.
The scenery might change, but Russ has lived on his own for 13. Jackson's never lived on his own. So those things all add up too. It's not just football. It's life. These guys are people. They have things going on. That's a big life change for a 22-year-old as opposed to a 34-year-old.
It looks like he kind of has connected with Tommy. And what's that relationship like, the two of them, and how much?
Yeah,
what do you see from that perspective?
I would say they've all the great thing about that room is they've all connected really well. From Russ to Jameis, they've had a relationship in the past. To Jameis and Tommy, to Jackson, Tommy, and the other two. It's a fun room. They all kind of hang out. I know they went to Russ's event last night, all four of them. So it's just a positive thing to see all four of those guys get along.
In what way is it fun to watch them interact? Because they're very different personalities.
They are, and I think that's why they complement each other so well. They're just like, without getting too much into it, I mean, meetings are fun. They can banter back and forth with me, with them, with each other. They know when it's time to be serious and work. They know when to give tidbits to each other on things that they've seen in the past. There's just a really good chemistry with all four of them.
At this stage in his career, Russ knows what works for him, but how do you go about assessing what works for a young quarterback? Like in New England, Josh McDaniels wants to put everything on. Drake May's played in Washington. Cliff's like, let's bring him along more slowly. How do you guys view that philosophically?
I think you view it as every situation's different. There's no cookie cutter way to put in an offense with a rookie quarterback. I think you want to do stuff to where the strengths of your team, the other 10 guys, are put on display, but what does the quarterback do as well? So it's a blend of those two things. So yeah, you take what he's done well in his past, what have we done in the past, and how can we bring those things together? And I don't think that changes with just a rookie. I think that's the same with Russ, Jameis, Tommy. All of those four quarterbacks, while they might like the same concept, there are different nuances to that. So you always try to, play to their strengths no matter who's in, and then also what your team does well. So there's a blend with those two things, I think.
You guys have talked a lot about this plan for Jackson. How does what he's shown in the preseason either impact that or kind of change what you guys are doing with him?
I don't think it changes too much. You want to trust the process of what we have. I think with him, just as long as you continue to see the steady growth, you just stay on that path. Don't try to alter it too much. The good thing is when you do see the steady growth, like, okay, now can we push a little bit more in terms of just putting another thing on his plate? Like, hey, all right, that was the first evolution, let's go to this one. And if that keeps going, then you keep adding. But just in terms of, the expectations and what we want him to do and all of that, I don't think that changes.
Sorry if you were asked this already.
No, you're good.
What really stood out in the games that he's played that he did really well?
Yeah, just his poise, his compactness in the pocket, his eyes down the field. He's trusting what he sees out there. He's doing a good job of just trusting the offense, knowing where he's supposed to go with the ball and getting through things quickly, which is just what you want to see.
And what, on the flip side of that, I guess, what stood out for improvement or that you guys have talked about maybe?
Yeah, I think it's always when you're out there for the first time and maybe running a play the first time against, a live defense. Just some of the little details, whether it's emotion, whether it's getting out of the huddle a certain way, whether it's, taking keys from the defense or where your eyes start when you get up to the line of scrimmage. Just little things like that you can drill as much as you want, but when it gets out there and it's live, you just might have to give a little reminder like, hey, don't forget about this. Oh, yeah, because there's a million things going on before the snap, and you just got to focus on what the important things are, where you should be, what you should do, and so I'd say those things.
You've been a coach for a long time, so I want to be clear. I'm not asking you when Andrew Thomas is coming back, that's Dayball, but have you been in a situation where a guy's only had a good player like that has only had 2 or 3 practices before the season and you're comfortable throwing him out there?
Off the top of my head, I don't necessarily have that answer for you, and I wouldn't know. I wouldn't try to speculate on what the status is. That you really kind of keep that, like you said, with theirs.
Yeah, I understand. But when you have with his resume, does that make it easier to not have much of a summer?
I would say that any player requires practice. Andrew Thomas is one of the best tackles in the league, so I think you can probably thread the needle a little bit in that one side of the coin versus the other.
What have you seen from Bo?
Bo is smart. He's versatile. He's got great feet. He has pride in the fact that he wants to be good, which is a good motivator. He's also a rookie, so there's some of those kind of young player developmental things or mistakes, or hey, it doesn't work when I do this, then don't do this, But he's also not afraid to try different things, and when you ask him to do it, he might try something he's done in college, and we say, hey, keep that and keep doing that, or hey, we're not necessarily fans of that. I don't think it'll work in my experience, and he buys in and he does it. So a lot to like. Young player, got a lot of potential.
He's been kind of bouncing back and forth between the 2 tackle spots. Why on Saturday did you just keep him at left tackle?
Just how things kind of worked out for that, and I think just getting an opportunity to evaluate him over there. He played primarily in his career at right side, so he's played plenty of practice reps at left, but games are different.
When you talk about offensive linemen, sometimes scouts will say that guy likes to finish his guy into the dirt, or he likes to almost, for lack of a better term, embarrass his guy. Do you see that from Bo? It feels like he's always trying to knock his guy over.
Yeah. I think one of the mantras I thought of a group thing we could do better this year was just finish. We've been talking about trying to play longer than the man with the football. I think you've seen good buy-in from the entire room in that regard, and I think we've been pleased with that. Bo certainly has fit that bill and is doing it as well, so it's good.
You agree he's had a strong camp?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a talented player. Like I said already, there's things that he can improve on, and it will with time. You would expect it. He's got good ability. He's smart, and we enjoy working with him.
Just like with a lot of guys in there at right guard with GVR, he gets a couple of series and then he sits out a couple. Just how do you view that position? Is that managing his workload? Is that giving other guys a showcase?
I think it's a bit of everything. Just obviously with the every rep that counts for Evan as far as getting in at the guard's position. Just for him coming from tackle. So I think it's definitely part of that. And then this is the 14th camp for Greg Van Roten. So there's sometimes I might look at a script and say, you know what, he might not need that rep. Let's give it to somebody else, and I'll pop him in, pop him out. Hey, you know what? He needs every one of these, and he takes a 10 rack in a row, which he's done. So it's just a matter of making sure that everybody has gotten an opportunity with those reps, and then it's also about communication of getting Jermaine and JMS comfortable talking to other people as well.
Could you envision a rotation at right guard?
Yeah, I don't think I would speculate on anything what it is. I'm sure we'll have a big meeting here after this game. We still got today's practice and tomorrow before training camp officially breaks in my mind.
Along with Evan, again, when guys who transition from your experience, how long does it take for guys to kind of get comfortable from what you've seen? Does it just depend on the player?
I think it would be an individual basis. I don't think you can necessarily say there's a time stamp on one thing or the other. Evan definitely has traits that lend themselves well to guard, and we'll just continue to develop them.
In a sense, does that make it does he have to get up to speed quickly, or is it a matter of you guys giving some grace to say, hey, he's still learning this, even though we need him, but knowing it's going to take some time to transition a little bit?
I'm sorry, what's your question, though?
The question was, do you give him, grace to kind of catch up to that, or do you understand, hey, do you give him grace to kind of learn the position still, or is it still he's got to get up to speed quicker?
It's pro ball. We got to be ready to play.
What did you guys iron out between the joint practices and the game in pass pro? It seemed like the start of joint practice with the Jets was a struggle in pass pro at first, but then in the game, it seemed like you guys held up really well.
No, I mean, like anything, you'll have good days and bad days. You can't think that you've got it all figured out. You also can't think that the sky is falling. You know, you kind of stay pretty consistent. We had a few poor reps that can snowball, and I think that maybe what you saw in a period. And I think I did a poor job of having them ready to go at the start of practice. So you self-reflect as a coach of, okay, what drills or what can I do? Whether it's a speech, whether it's a drill, whether it's not a drill, to make sure that we're a little more prepared to start the practice.
Just with JMS, what have you seen from him, and has he taken a step forward? This guy.
Yeah, I think year 3 now for John Michael. We saw a big step from him last year, and I think there's more to go. I think one thing people don't realize, these guys he comes from a Big Ten program, established Minnesota, but they still get stronger. He's only 25 years old. He hasn't reached his peak of strength yet. So, and he cares. So he's going to keep working and improving his body, which then in turn hopefully helps him, be a little better football player. But I see a player that's a little more filled out physically, and then just has a little bit more experience, another year under his belt. So he's done everything we've asked, and we're pleased. But like my line is, pleased but not satisfied.
What do offensive linemen think of tempo?
It can be good and bad. I think they'd probably grudgingly say that they like it, but at the same time, it pays a toll,
Can't use it all game.
Or you can. I think we did. So, technically you can.
We'll
so,
see.
yeah.
He'll probably ask us, what do you see from Hyatt with him coming back?
Well, I thought he did a nice job the other night. Had some opportunities there and put some wins on tape. Did a nice job. He's just coming back here, like you said, after missing a little bit of time. But I thought he performed well the other night.
What do you hope to see from him this last game?
Same stuff. Yeah. Just continue to put wins on tape. Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Make the play when they come to you. Make some. If he has an opportunity to make a contested play, go and attack the football and come down with those kinds of plays and be physical in the run game. So everything a receiver's supposed to do, right? Nothing different. Yeah.
What have you seen from Bill Collins?
I did just answer that one, but yeah, I think Bo's done a nice job. He's done a good job since he got in here. He's very bright, and he's got a skill set. He's got good length. He's got height, good speed, ball skills. Can get in and out of his breaks. He's played very good fundamental football and been assignment sound, and he's got position flexibility and the mental flexibility to be able to handle it.
How about what have you observed about Montrell?
Montrell has kind of shown up. I know his quote is make a play a day, and he's been able to do that. He's maximized his opportunities, which is what you have to do when you're fighting for a roster spot. When the balls come to him, he's made some plays. There's some things that they could have improved on, and we've talked about those things, and he's very conscientious, and he didn't really make the same mistake twice.
Can you take us through that pass from Jackson to Theo the other day from each of their sets?
Yeah, it was a screen, good call, good timing of the call. The timing of it from really everybody from Theo to Jermaine to the line, being able to get out was perfect. And then Jackson's ability to change his arm angle and give a ball, and Theo's ability to find it. That's not always the easiest thing. You're expecting it up here, and when he drops the arm angle, having to adjust to it and find it. He did a good job being able to secure it, and then got behind the blocks and let genetics take over. So it was those guys did a great job. Everybody did, the line, Theo, Jackson, they all did a great job executing that.
Theo now versus Theo a year ago? Totally different.
Same person, same mindset, a very prideful guy, physical, wants to win, wants to do everything to help us be as good as a football team as possible. So nothing's changed there. I think the speed of the game has slowed down a little bit for him, which I would say is probably the case for most second-year players. They've seen every look, they've seen every coverage. He played a lot of ball for us last year, so I think the mental part of it has kind of slowed down for him, and now that's allowing the physical, details to kind of take over there for how do I have to win this block. I know what I'm supposed to do. Now how am I supposed to do it? again, I think that's a jump most second-year players make, is they're not so much worried about what they have to do, but how can I go out and do it.
The physical as a pass catcher, there's a lot there, isn't there?
Yeah, he's a large human being who runs very well. He's got a weird body, but like he's got the ability to contort it, and he's got great body control. Got huge hands. Yeah, he does a lot of things really well for us in the pass game.
What kind of body do you say?
He's gonna get pissed off in the percentage.
Okay.
He's got really long legs, so like if you ever watch him walk, he like kind of has a weird gait. And you're like, man, this guy's not athletic. But then he goes and runs, and you're like, holy smokes, this guy can fly. So he's got a dip, but he's got a different body type. So he's got to do things a little differently in order to get in and out of breaks or get in and out of blocks or things along those lines. So, that's been an adjustment for him, because he can't just go and maul people like he used to. So he's had to learn how to kind of deal with some of those things and still go out and win.
Do you think he was just starting to get it when he got hurt last year? You could see it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I think that's kind of the same concept we were talking about, as far as like being able to understand what I'm supposed to do, and then now how can I go out and do it better? And he was kind of right there, and you saw the production start to kind of increase a little bit. So hopefully we can pick up where we left off.
I mean, this league is full of big time tight ends. I mean, can he be one of them? Do you think? I mean, can he be a not just, oh, that's a nice compliment. You know what I mean? Nice little red zone, nice little.
Yeah, he's got all the ability in the world. He's got the right makeup. The biggest thing is what I tell him to focus on is, like, give me the best version of yourself today. Like, you don't have to be anybody other than who you are. Like, go out there, and if you do that, everyone's going to be really happy with that.
You think he liked the tight end? He went to the
tight end U.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a unique experience for those guys to be able to go and kind of talk shop. Be able to pick the brains of some of these guys. A lot of these guys are running similar offenses, or take Kelsey for example. With some of the stuff that we run from Kansas City, he's got a bunch of experience running it. So being able to just kind of pick their brains and some of the different details that make them up that can help them go out and play better.
But how much have you had Elijah Chapman in your room?
I haven't had Elijah Chapman in my room at all, actually.
Really?
No.
So how do you play fullback without doing any running back stuff?
Well, he works with TK most of the time.
Okay.
Coach Kelly with tight end / fullback type bodies. So I haven't had a chance to work with him.
Okay. You're a former NFL running back. Would you like to run behind that guy?
I would. Anybody that's going out there to run through people and hit people, I'm always a fan of. So it's been good.
What have you seen from Tyrone Tracy? I mean, you obviously were familiar with him, and then you get here. As far as tape from last year versus what he's shown so far this summer, do you sense a big difference in where he's at? Is it just a development?
I do. I think you're seeing a player that's a little bit more comfortable with the position, more confident, and obviously a more confident Tracy is good news for the Giants, right? But he started off playing running back, I think, when he was a youth. Got away from it a little bit. Now he's back at it. So you're just seeing a more confident player, a guy that's getting used to the system, understanding where the blocks are, where the intent of the plays are. So he's just a more confident player.
Is that patience? Is that awareness? Is that both? Just the idea of knowing where the blocks are? Because it seems like he is setting up his blocks a little bit more. I know it's a small sample size this summer, but it does seem like he's running with a little bit more patience, a little bit more vision than maybe he did last year.
It's all the above. I'm sure last year was a bit of a learning curve for him, playing running back really only 1 year in college and then coming straight to the pros and doing it again. So now you're seeing a guy that's really 3 years removed from playing the position. And now you get a chance to watch the film, practice it more, going, day in and day out with your offensive linemen. So you're starting to see that cohesiveness. And like I said, that's a good thing for the Giants if he's playing like that.